All right, welcome in. You're listening to The Game. This is the Gamecock Club Hour, brought to you by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Very, very special guest joining us today. It's our guy, Nyck Harbor. Nyck, appreciate you taking the time, man. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. We just finished up practice, just finished up work.
For you, I know the gym was packed. You got ESPN, and then just to put that hat on and to pick South Carolina. What went into it, and then what was that moment like for you?
Man, it was just a blessing, to be in that opportunity, that space. Just the Lord just giving me that, special talent, to showcase my, my abilities to everybody in the world, and just getting, the national spotlight and stuff like that. It's just a big thing. Just to be in front of my whole school, like, all my classmates, all my peers, that always, we always talked about that. Somebody being on ESPN, doing a live reaction, to us, like, reacting to where I was going, because nobody in the school knew where I was going. Like, I didn't tell nobody, like, nobody. I told everybody, like, a whole different perspective. I told people I was going to Texas, Miami. So, just for everybody to be like, ooh, like, where is he going? And to actually, like, just, pull out the hat and stuff like that, and just, to commit, to Coach Beamer and the crew was just like, it was like, man, it was just a lot of weight just lifted off my shoulders, because them last 2 days, I had a very stressful night. It's like I probably got barely any sleep. Like, I was, like, in class, like, dozing off and stuff. Nah, that's not the best thing to do, but it was just like, just a big decision. This where I'm spending my next 3 years, 4 years at. So, like, just looking at everything with my parents and, finally just having that talk with God, and, he sent me in the right way.
Do you feel like you had to just grow up faster than the average high school kid, because it seems like you had that platform very early just in your life compared to most people, and you're going viral. It's like, hey, Nyck Harbor, he's 6'5" and runs a 10.2, and you're on social media, like, your videos of you are floating around social media, millions of views. How quickly did you sort of look around and be like, man, I got a much bigger platform than most of my peers?
Like my youth coach, Pamela Crockett, she always told me you're gonna be bigger than life. And, like, I never really understood, like, what she meant by that. But, like, as I got older, just listening to everybody and just seeing, like, how I progressed in, like, the national spotlight, it was just, like, now I see what she means. But, I mean, it was nothing too crazy. Like, you just get recognized more, and then, like, your city. Like, I think the best thing about it was, like, your city knows who you are.
Right.
And Washington, D.C. is, like, a big city. So for the DMV to really know, like, who you are was just probably, like, the biggest thing for me, because, like, anywhere, like, I go around in my city, like, a lot of people know me. Like, they know my face. They talk to me. I talk to them. I hear a lot of life stories that I probably would never heard if I didn't have, like, this national spotlight. So with me, it was just, like, it's like, man, like, you get a whole different perspective of everything, but you don't take it in a bad way. You take it in a good way, because, like, it's just an opportunity to get your name out there more, for you to get more opportunities in business, to get more opportunities in real estate, to get more opportunities in things that would have been harder for me if I didn't have, like, that platform.
For sure. So what has the experience at South Carolina been like for you so far? We'll get to the on-field stuff, but I'm more thinking about off the field. Like, I know when you committed, you even talked about how you had gotten to know some of the other guys that were signed with Carolina or committed to Carolina. It seems like, outside looking in, that you've got really strong bonds with the other guys, your other teammates. So what is that part of it, just kind of being a part of that locker room culture and those things, been like for you here in Columbia?
That's the one thing that Coach Beamer really emphasized, was family. And that's what we are. We're a big family. I mean, 2023 wasn't the best season, because, we had a lot of individuals that year, but, I mean, we were still a family. I still got close with a lot of people, a lot of seniors that are gone now, and a lot of seniors last year that are gone too, like, Xavier, Spencer, two of my biggest, like, role models and, like, peers at the time. Like, they just helped me. All the stuff that they taught me, I never, like, put in perspective until, like, the later season of this year. And it was like, oh, now I see what Zay means by this. Now I see what Spencer means by this, like, sitting in zones, finding the hot spot and stuff like that. So, just the talks that we had and just the connections that I got now into, like, the NFL, basically, it's just like, man, like, it's just great. And, like, just knowing all the people that was in my class, and most of us are still here, we're just building that foundation that, we set when we committed. So, that part is good. But the off the field part, I know it's chill. Like Columbia is a slow town. It's very slow. Like coming from DC.
Compared to DC.
Yeah, coming from DC, there's always something going on. So there's always something to do. But like Columbia, it's just you just go to school. Go to the facility a lot. Go find food. I'm still trying to find all the good food spots, and I've been here for like 2 years. So if anybody like has any suggestions, please let me know. And just that's really it. That's really it. I don't really do anything else.
I got you, man. So on the field, and this is again outside looking in perspective from me. It felt like there was a moment this year where, I don't know, it kind of felt like the switch flipped a little bit, like just in terms of your own field development. Like you had a big finish to the year this season. How, and there was lots to talk about all the offseason work you put in sort of once you kind of ended your track season, started getting into football this past offseason, putting in that extra work. What can you say kind of about your own, you kind of look in the mirror at your development as a true wide receiver and kind of what you've learned under Coach Mike Fury and kind of what you had focused on this season, you think, this past season?
I'll say the one thing that Coach Fury taught me was just believe in myself. Believe that I'm the best receiver on the field, best receiver in the conference, best receiver in the country. And, just like look everything in. That's really taught me. And then like just the fundamentals of, every rep is 100%. Every practice rep is a game rep. Practice, you should kill yourself in practice. So that the game is way easier. And I guess that's the thing that I really took into the most perspective was like, okay, if I do this, I just buy into it. It's gonna pay off. And it was a lot of hard times. Like the beginning of the season, I wasn't playing at all. I was playing special teams, and like, mentally, I was battling with myself. Like, it's like, is this something like I really want to do? Like, I'm not a special teams player like that. I don't like it. But I mean, I like it though. Like, I like kickoff. But it's just like that's all you do. You don't get no reps on offense. Yeah. And it's just like, man, like, what am I doing here? So like that. But he always told me just to buy in. And like once you flip the switch, you'll see what happens. And just that one day, it's just like where I took off. Like the development started to show because everybody else had like a winter and a spring, to get ready. So all the other boys in the receiver room, they had all that time to get ready, and I only had a month. So I was just a little slow catching up, and about halfway through the season, I was up there and probably passed. So after that, we was rolling. People started to see, like, I'll say, which game was it? It was probably Bama was like the real true testament.
Yeah, the big catch.
Yeah, the real true testament of like, okay, now you see you're getting open against all these Bama cornerbacks. Like the game feels easy, the game slowing down, and like it's Alabama. You go in there, it's 101,000 people, and like you make probably one of the best catches in South Carolina history, and it's just like, man, like you just silenced Alabama. And it's just like going from there, it just gave me so much more confidence to go out there and just to work even harder. And then I start working my butt off until sometimes Coach Beamer or Coach Ferry told me to get out the facility. Like I was in there so much, just getting so much more meeting time, just understanding coverages, understanding routes, concepts, and then like you go game by game by game. You go Missouri, got the 2 big catches in probably the first 10 minutes of the game, and then it's like, okay, yeah, you do that. Just imagine, you keep getting open and stuff. The ball didn't find me no more that game, but now you go into the blocking aspect. That's another big thing that we do. We run the ball, so we gotta get down and dirty and just taking in that blocking aspect and stuff like that. And it's fun. It's fun out there to go block linebacker, safety, sometimes a DN or two. Just to put them on the ground and like. You see Rocket or Oscar or even Lenore's, just sprint past you. And you're like, oh, yeah, you made that play. You made this play happen, with everybody else. So it's like, man, like it just feels real good. And then, you just keep going on and on and on. Clemson, like last year, Clemson, I dropped 2 balls my freshman year. Like I feel like a big letdown. This year, I had like 53 yards and I was leading receiver on our team. So it's just like you made big plays to, the kickstart drives. And then the bowl game was probably my best game. Like, the way that game just felt. Like, every time we needed a spark or, like, we needed just a play, 16 called my number, and I was there to answer the phone. So, it's just like, just that momentum and that confidence you have from last season, you just bringing it to this year. So, I can just keep striving, go try to go get 1,000 yards this year.
For sure. All right, we got to take a quick break. We got a lot more to unpack there. Talking to Nyck Harbor here about his development on and off the field. You're listening to The Game. We'll be right back. All right, guys, before I give up the mic, let me tell you about our friends at Firehouse Subs. Lunchtime is upon us. Hit up our friends at Firehouse by going to firehousesubs.com or by using the Firehouse Subs app. Hitting the Rapid Rescue to go, avoid the wait, order online. One of the best parts about it, other than the great food, is you're going to get points every single time you order. Then you can trade those points in for free food. If you want to try something new, try the new French dip on a garlic butter roll. It's got premium roast beef. It's got the au jus on the side, 2 types of cheese, caramelized onions. It is fantastic, just like all the other great options at Firehouse Subs. We know you got a favorite, but again, if you want to try something new, hit the French dip. My number one, still brisket, add bacon. Tyler says add the hot sauce from the hot sauce bar, which is back with a ton of awesome options from mild to very, very hot. Whatever it is you want, they got something for you at Firehouse Subs. All right, welcome back in. This is the game. Gamecock Club Hour. Hanging out with Nyck Harbor, South Carolina wide receiver. Nyck, we were talking about kind of your development and when you sort of felt that moment at Alabama, had the big catch, and it sort of just snowballed in a good way from there. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a very wholesome moment. You took your game ball into the press conference. Mm-hmm. Was that Missouri?
Yeah,
game?
That was Missouri.
Okay. All right, so you had the big early catch. I think it was a corner blitz, and safety doesn't get over, make a big play there. Had the other big catch down the field, one-on-one coverage. You beat your man, make the play. I got to imagine that game ball probably meant something to you. What you were like holding that thing tight, man. What was that sort of feeling to get that game ball in the locker room, and then you took it to the press conference there, man?
It was a blessing. Like, not like that's the Lord right there, just telling, like, you see what hard work does to you. You know, you put in the hard work, and, you know, you just reward me with a little spark. So, like, it was just crazy. Like, you know, I never got a game ball. Like, you know, high school, I don't think they give game balls and stuff. Youth ball, you know, you never really feel special and stuff. Like, you know, you make big plays and all that, but you see everybody else getting these game balls and stuff like that, and you just like, man, when is your time gonna be?
Right.
Like, when Coach Beamer had called my name, like, I was surprised. I was like, you showed me? And then they said, cause you know we got multiple Knicks on the team, and I'm like, oh yeah, this me for real. I'm like, oh man, like I gotta keep this. Like, I don't know what to do with it, so I gave it to my dad. Mm-hmm. My dad got it on top of our TV at home back in Maryland. So it's just like, I signed the ball. So like I'm like, yeah, this is my first game ball. You know, hope I got many more to come this year. So you know, next time I probably get a game ball, I'll probably give it to somebody else that I seen that deserved it, not me. And that's the only one I need. So maybe I go get one in the NFL, and then after that, we'll be good. Yeah,
that's special, man. So you talked about kind of the building confidence and these moments, the blocking aspects as well. Yeah. There was a play. I don't know if people will even like flag this play in their memories, but I think it was Vandy game, man. You caught like a hitch or a little comeback or something. And Vandy guy's coming up to tackle you. And you just like took the heat to him. Like, you look like a running back out there. Do you remember this play? Like you put your shoulder into him. Like, it was not a wide receiver play. It was like, I'm a ball carrier play.
Yeah.
When you made that play, I was like, man, I feel like Nyck's like feeling himself. Like his confidence is at sky high right now. Do you remember that moment when you were just like, I'm taking it to this guy?
Yeah, it was so number 2 from Vandy was talking the whole game and stuff like that. You know, that was one of our key points, you know, was to make sure that number 2, you know, really didn't have a good game. Because, like, we seen him on film. You know, he was making a lot of great plays. He's a great player, by the way. Great player, by the way. You know, I respect him a lot. But, you know, he was a chatting little game. So I'm like, okay, you going to feel this or here? So, you know, I think it was a quick out to single receiver side. I was, you know, on the field, corners playing probably like 8 yards off. You know, they were scared of our speed. So, you know, just a little quick yard, you know. It's like 3rd and 6. Like, go get the first down. That's what I heard. In a little video thing that, you know, Justin had sent me. So Coach Bean was like, go get the first down, go get the first down. So stiff on one dude, made him miss. And I said, oh, that's number 2. Oh, I ain't going to run out of bounds this time. Oh, I'm going to run right at him. So I'm talking about, I'm saying everything in my power while I'm running him over. And then I carry like 4 of them, like 4 or 5 yards. And I'm like, you know, that's what I needed. You know, just one, like, because I really like a lot of my routes and stuff. I really like they're big boy routes, like NFL routes. Like, these routes are not built for, like, rack. Like, you know, you don't get really a lot of run at the catch. You know, especially me. Like, I'm always running, like, you know, something that's in the zone where there's, like, a lot of people around me because I get bracketed a lot. So there's always, like, 2 to 3 people around me. So that was the first time, like, I really had a chance to, like, turn around and actually run. And it was just like, oh, yeah, I want to show everybody, like, you know, we can get a couple of yards after the catch, you know. Right. So that was probably my favorite moment was just like, like seat contact. I wanted it. That's so that was just a great play. Like, you know, I just enjoyed that play. I watch it all the time, and it's just like, man, like my group chat, FNA, they had sent me it. So all my boys had sent me it. They were like, yeah, this is what we need. This is what we want to see right here. I'm like, I got y'all. Next time I do it, probably gonna hurt somebody next time. So, yeah.
I'm glad that was your favorite play too, or one of them, because man, that was my favorite play for you, honestly, because you, like I said, you took the contact to him, and you talked earlier kind of about the the blocking aspects and the settling into zones, and how much is receiver, or how much of successful receiver play is kind of those things maybe we don't all notice. Everybody, he's big and fast.
Yeah.
But there's like intricacies to this thing. And obviously, from a blocking perspective, you're going to be going up against guys that are usually smaller than you. So you can maybe on the perimeter in terms of blocking when you're asked to do that. So how much do you feel like you've grown just in those kind of intricacies of playing the wide receiver position?
Just using my brain that I apply to the classroom, apply it on the field. So like, you going to class again. And Coach Furry, like, we really got down and dirty with coverages, understanding, the weakness, all zone spots. So, and me just having a feel for it, and then me just having connection with 16. So, me and Lenore, like, we just got to have that connection in the back of our minds, like, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, or like, Tom Brady and Gronk, Mike Evans, all the great, quarterback and receiver duos. You got to have that in the back of your mind, like, he knows where I'm going to be at, or I know where he's going to throw it at. Just me, like, asking the quarterbacks and, even defensive backs, like, what's this weakness in y'all zone? Like, where's something that I could attack that? So, like, that's what me and OD did. Like, me and OD talked a lot, even in practice. Like, hey, what should I do against, a cover 2 man? Or what should I do against 04? So it's just asking everybody on your team, because your teammates at the end of the day. That's what's going to help you. It's not the opponent. So you go out there, you go beat the opponent. And then blocking aspect, it's just, people think that blocking is like, you got to like power drive somebody to the ground all the time. I mean, that's great and all. Like, we always love to see that. I always love to do that. But I mean, sometimes that's not always the case. Yeah. You got a good block is you just shielding off the area your running back's going to go to. So you just got to know where your running back is at. What's the run? Is it inside or outside? The leverage that you have to have on a DB and stuff. And you get great leverage, and a DB can't get past you, or a linebacker can't get past you. And that turns into an 80-yard run. And we've seen that before. Like, I remember when Rocket, I'll say, like, for instance, like the screenplay he had against Vanderbilt. I blocked, like, one person, and then, like, you just run down the field with them. And then, like, I don't think people ever seen it, but, I ran behind him with my arms, like, just spread out. So, somebody dives at his legs, they diving at me. Yeah. It's like, you just got to shield people off. Blocking is just making sure they just don't hit your running back, no matter how you get it done. But we always love the little power drives and stuff, like, Missouri and everything, when they called that holding call. Yeah. That was bogus.
You mentioned special teams earlier. We got to get you a kickoff return for touchdown at some point, man. So you had you had the reverse against Missouri. We had the trick play that apparently ticked off the Illinois coach in the bowl game. Hey, what were you seeing? Because I felt like from the stands, both of those were like this close to maybe there being green grass for you to take them to the house. Did you think either one of those was about to hit for a touchdown at any point, or was it kind of like, I don't know if we got this one?
I thought both of them was going to hit. Yeah. But the funniest part on both plays, the kicker. It was the kicker and somebody else that got Missouri. It was the dude. I think it was my dude, or he was like the L1 or the L2. Ran all the way across the field. Nobody blocked him, and he got me at like the 30-yard line. Okay, good play. Now, Illinois, that was way different, because, like, the way we practiced and the way we skinned up, even when we saw the play, it was way different to where, when I got the ball, it was like 3 people in my face. When my man got the ball, when we got the play, I think it was Nebraska, he had nobody. He just got caught at, the 40, the opposite 40. Like, if I had a play like that, well, ain't nobody, I'm scoring that. But, I mean, it's a little fun thing. I think Jody, I'm going to talk to him about it, but I do want to return kicks, so we'll see what happens with that one.
So, like, the actual deep man, potentially, like, returning, that.
Yeah, I get back there. I seen Juju do it, and I did it all, probably, like, the last 3 games where I was the off returner. Yeah. They kicked it to me, that I was going to return it. Yeah. The only time y'all seen me fair catch it, it was because the call that we had, there was no blockers on that side, so. Yeah. I just had to fair catch it because, that's just protecting myself. But
Right.
I was back there, so they kicked it back there. I was going to return
Yeah.
it. It wasn't like I was going to fair catch it. I was going to return that thing.
I think a lot of Gamecock fans would love to see you get that opportunity, Nyck. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're continuing this conversation with Nyck Harbor. All right, welcome back in Gamecock Club. Hanging out with Nyck Harbor, getting to know him a little bit on and off the field. Nyck, this is Gamecock Club Hour, so means Gamecock Club sponsors this radio show. You've had an opportunity through Gamecock Club, Garnet Trust, to get to know the South Carolina fan base with events and stuff like that, autograph sessions. What has the kind of fan support and NIL support and all that stuff kind of meant to you during your 2 seasons so far at South Carolina?
The fans is like the underrated part about this. Like, I met so many great people just like, just being fans of us. And it's just like, man, like, they're crazy about us. And just having like normal conversations with them. Like, I think a lot of people like to put in this perspective, like, some athletes are like people that just like don't want to be bothered, barely talk. But I mean, like, you talk to me, like, I'm gonna talk to you back. Like, we're gonna have a regular conversation. And I think that's the one thing that, that's probably, it's been my best aspect, is just setting myself apart where like I'll actually talk to them and get to know them. So like, you really built your fandom. Like, it's, everybody knows you as that guy. Like, if push comes down to shove, like, if I got nothing to do, then I sit in the grocery store. I remember I sat in grocery stores like extra 30 minutes just talking to this lady. It's about, just life. And like, she just knew me because of who I was. A lot of people that are Gamecock fans have a lot of different things that you'll need later in life, and businesses aspect too.
Yeah.
I met a lot of business people that, are Gamecock fans, and just propel me in a great way, to have opportunities later down the road or even now.
Yeah. You and some of your teammates easily could have just entered the transfer portal, gone out, found other opportunities. How much do you think that aspect, like kind of building a legacy at South Carolina and kind of just building, like networking, those bonds, maybe sometimes people who just say, I'm going to leave the first sign of I'm not playing, I'm out. How much do you think maybe that networking and bond building will be potentially beneficial for you in the future business-wise?
Definitely very beneficial. I remember I went to Halls a couple of days ago, and I've never been to Halls. I think I've been one time my recruiting visit, so I don't really go to Halls. That's not me. So I go to Halls, and I'm just in Halls, and I happen to meet 2 great businessmen. And we just talked for like probably 3 hours while we watching. It was Notre Dame and Penn State, and we just talked about investments. We talked about staking companies, stocks, business owning, like restaurants. It was just a lot of property management. It was just a lot of like good information that I got in them couple hours of talks. And it's just like, you eat, you sit down, and like, you just had these conversations with these, these great men, and then like it enhances your brain. It enhances like, the way you see things, and like the way I spoke to him. It's like, oh, he knows what he's talking about, or he wants to learn. So it's just like, you want to learn, and they see that, then they're like, oh, we want to help him. We gotta help him, because like, great Gamecock football player, this, but also want something that's after football, because I feel like, even with my plan A, like I say, football's my plan B. My plan A is to be an orthopedic surgeon. So that's probably like the biggest thing for me. And my mom like was so, major emphasis on my education. I was too. So like just having, football just be like the gateway to open up so many opportunities. It's just like the best things. It really is.
Can you or do you feel like you can pour that mindset into some of these young guys that are just arriving at South Carolina in terms of freshmen? Like, I don't know if all these guys realize how amazing of an opportunity. Like, they probably have as good of an opportunity as anybody who's ever enrolled at this school in terms of NIL opportunities and on-field opportunities. Program has momentum. As you get older, do you take on a little more of that leadership role in the room at South Carolina potentially?
Yeah, I do. Because now I'm, third oldest, third oldest behind like E. Rice, Luke, JB, so forth. Now everybody else is younger than me, so it's just like, and people kind of see me as that, leader, receiver one, whatever you want to call it. So I just want to take on that role where like, everybody finds stuff out differently. Like I'm gonna definitely pour into my young guys, because I'm only gonna be here for either a year or two. So and then after that, it's their ship.
Yeah.
So definitely, like every day, like anything that I can say that I see, I'm gonna tell them. Anything that they do, I'm gonna tell them. Anything that like they ask me, I'm gonna answer the best of my ability. And if I can't answer it, then I'll find somebody that can answer it. But like, just just seeing like the growth. Because I remember 2 years ago, I was that young guy. I didn't know nothing about college. So now where I'm basically a rising junior. So it's just like everything moves so fast. And like, Xavier Leggett, I'll say, was probably the biggest thing that ever happened to me. Because the way he took me under his wing, he didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He got said, oh, he a freshman. Like, we don't care about him. He probably not even going to play this year. And then fast forward, Juice, I got injured. And then now we look halfway through the season, I'm starting in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think nobody on that staff thought I was even going to play that year. So it's like, it's crazy to where like, the mentorship that even Spencer did for me too.
Right.
It was like, I had a lot of mess ups, a lot of hiccups and stuff, but like that Texas A&M game that I had 2 years ago, he found me, confidence builder right there. Like I had 7 catches for like 70 yards. I'm like, man, I thought I was never going to have that. Like, when Zay wasn't hot, he's firing to me. So it's just like, the stuff that they see, they told me. So I definitely like just got to reciprocate it back to the young guys.
Off the field, hobbies, hidden talents. If you're not, I know you got a lot on your plate already. Football, track stuff. What's something we don't know about you?
I'm a very good cook. Like,
okay.
I'm really Gordon Ramsay 2.0. Like, I'm really a chef.
Love it.
I'm really a chef. Like every time I get to cook, I cook. So, I mean, that's just something you learn off YouTube. I start watching YouTube videos and stuff, and just like, I'm gonna buy these ingredients, buy the pots and the pans, and let's see what I can cook up. So, like, that's what I do. And then I guess another hobby is when I'm not busy. If I'm not trying to read, then I'm on a game. Mm-hmm. I'm learning how to be a gamer again. So, you got a lot of free time on your hands. So, you start to, buy a mic. I already got the PS5 and the Xbox. So, you buy games for both. Just go at both, and then, just have them, great bonds with your boys on the games. Like, it's taking us back. Like when we was, 15, 16, when we had just high school.
Yeah.
Even though we're in college now, it's like the same thing with just more free time. So I think those are my 2 biggest hobbies. And then just another interesting fact, like I love cars. Like for some reason, like I just love cars. Like any car that drives by, I know about it. Like I know it. And I think that's just a weird, interesting fact is that I'm very like fascinated with cars.
You have a lot of interests. Like does your mind kind of jump around to just different, like it seems like you have a lot of deep, some people have more surface level interests. It seems like you have a deeper interest in a lot of different things. Like you're not just, I'm going to learn to cook. You're like, I'm going to learn to chef this thing up, basically.
Yeah. I mean, like, if that's your hobby, then I feel like you go full force at it. And that's like the same thing with your goals. Like, if you dream about it, go achieve it. Like, there's nothing that's stopping you, literally, unless, like, God forbid, something, like, physically happens to you or, mentally happens to you that you can't be able to do it, literally. Just go achieve it. Like, I think that's the one thing that, I've had to believe. It's like, just believe in yourself, believe in the Lord, believe in yourself. Just, go full steam ahead because, you miss 100. You miss every shot that you don't take. So, just take every shot. If you miss, you miss. You get the basketball and you shoot again until you make it. That's how I like to take it at. So if I'm a chef, I'm really do my thing at it. If I play a game, I'm really learn it. Like even sports. Like I was telling my dad this. I said, I can do any sport, literally, if I put my mind to it. Just give me like a couple months. Give me like 3 months. I can learn every sport. So yeah.
If we dropped you right into the middle of a cooking show and said, make your best dish to win the competition, what are you throwing together? Like, what's your do you have a go-to? Like, this is my favorite meal. This is what I would put together. Meal number 1, basically.
I don't even have a go-to meal. Like my go-to meal is kind of bland. It's like chicken wing.
Okay.
It's like chicken wings and like fries. That's my go-to meal. But if I had to put something together, I don't even know. It's like so many things that like I learned just on YouTube. Like it's like I could show you my YouTube page. It's just straight cooking. Like I don't really. I get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Like I really don't know. I just cook anything that comes to mind or that I see on YouTube. So yeah.
Hopefully we get to do another one of these, and when you come back in,
I
you
definitely have
come
it
with
for you.
your Top Chef type meal. We got to take another quick break. We're right back with Nyck Harbor here on The Game. All right, final segment here with Nyck Harbor, hanging out we got to let him get back to work or cooking or playing the game here shortly. When the video game came out, everybody's talking about Nyck Harbor on CFB 25.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was it cool? Was it weird? Was it a little bit of both, or was it just crazy?
I loved it. like people gotta realize, like, the last time we had NCAA was 14. So, go back 10 years ago when I'm about 19 now. So it's 10 years old. So it's just like a 10-year-old playing as D'Anthony Thomas. Who was back in that day? Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
It's like you play with them, and it's like, man, like, imagine if I was in this game. Boom, 10 years later, I'm basically at the highest overall, but I'm probably one of the top 10 best players in the game. And I'm not even the highest overall. It's just, a God-given ability that the Lord has given me. Just, caused me to be one of the best players in the game. It's just like, man, I played with myself 3 times on that game. I lost all 3. Haven't played with South Carolina since, though. I play with everybody else but South Carolina. I can't do it. Like, just so many. Like, it's not even trying to throw the ball to myself. It's just every time I just lose. I don't know how. Like, I know that team inside and out, and I just lose. So I just stop playing with us. So maybe I'll start trying. Go
trying
back
again.
Go back to it. But I just really me, and I say, like, I play with anybody online. But somebody I like to play against is Tree Babalade. Cook him every time. Every time. I hope he hears this too. Like, every time. It's bad.
So has he ever beaten you?
He has.
Okay.
Like, once or twice. But we just pick randoms. Like, we just do 3 or 4 randoms, and we just pick the highest overall to the random, and we just go at it. So I think that's probably the best thing about the game. It's like, a lot of people like to play with their own team, but it's like, so many teams in the game, like, go play with somebody else. Like, go learn who this is. Go learn who that is. And, some coaches say this is a great scouting report. So, sometimes, you go look at the team, see who's on there, and you just see, like, oh, if they're this in the game, then you might expect something different in person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's great for college football. Just, you got a whole new generation of people being introduced to college football, to the players themselves, to even schemes to an extent. Like, oh, this is what, it's a dumbed down version. This is what cover 2 is. This is what quarters is. This is what cover 3 is. So I think there's some value beyond it just being a video game. Even for branding, like yourself, I mean, might be people who never watched South Carolina before. It's like, oh, I played with Lenore Sellers and Nyck Harbor on the game. Let me go watch South Carolina. Let me see what they're all about in real life. So I think there's some interesting carryover, business-wise even, to the game, to real life. So you've mentioned 16 a couple times. When did you know that, all right, Lenoris is going to be the truth at South Carolina? Was it early on? Like, I know obviously Spencer was the guy last year, but he was practicing. Lenoris was with you guys. When did you kind of like, oh, this guy's got a chance?
Definitely. First time we was out there our freshman year, like, everybody seen, like, the potential we had. But I think the first time I ever seen, like, I was like, yeah, this boy gonna be, like, for real. I always had trust in him. That's our quarterback. Like, I'm like, he gonna be for real anytime we step on the field. Mm-hmm. But I think it was just like Missouri. That's when he really I'm trying to remember, like, which game was which. But I think LSU. Yeah. LSU was a turntable. It's like, okay, that boy for real. Then he got injured. I'm like, oh. And Ole Miss, we all had a miss after Ole Miss. But Alabama, okay, I'm seeing something. I liked it. Oklahoma, okay. A&M, boy, you are him. Missouri, him and Rocket, like that. Let's just fast forward the game that he is going to be remembered for forever. I never realized that it was actually 3rd and 16. That's something I never realized. It was a fun fact though. He could have really threw the ball, but we're not gonna talk about that. That's him. So, the play that we called was a great.
You were open.
I was wide open. But you probably get I never seen it though. You probably got pressure in his face, but I mean, 3rd and 16, your number is 16, you go score game-winning touchdown against South Carolina, a rival. Yeah. You don't got to do nothing else no more. You're going to be running for that play for the rest of your life. And then it's like, man, that boy deserved everything that he got.
Yeah.
And just like the chemistry that we've built, and I love that man. Love that boy. I love the whole team. Like everybody, like from Coach Beamer all the way down to our janitors. I appreciate, every single person that's in that building, because without each one of them, we would never been 9-3 or 9-4. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, just a great appreciation for everybody and for them doing each other's part. And, everybody's working together as a big old family, because, it's a lot to take care of a football team. And it's not like we're the NFL, like we're grown men. Like we're college boys. We're still trying to figure out this. Like some of us are just getting out of high school. Some of us are technically still in high school. Like we got 2 receivers that reclass. I mean, I think it's a couple of them that reclass.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember one that was talking about, my man's supposed to be a senior this year.
Yep.
So you came to college as a junior in high school. It's like we're still like young. We're still old teenagers growing into young men. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, you gotta be a little slower with us. But like once we get it, we're there, and we're basically now professionals. Like this can be my last year in college football, and then next year I'll be a professional. I got 2 years left. I don't got a lot of time left. There's no red shirts added to my name, so I got the true 4 years. Ain't nothing else to it.
No COVID years.
No COVID years, no nothing. Just a true 4-year college student. So I just got to enjoy it while it's here. Just work every day, work my butt off for, and then 200 and like, I forgot how many days Coach Mike has said, but it's like 220-something days until we play Virginia Tech.
That's right. Yep.
In Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So in 220-something days in Atlanta, I'll be ready.
This is a great place to end it. What is your specific focus for those 200 days? I know you get better, work hard. Is there anything specifically you just like, man, if I check these 2 boxes, sky's the limit?
Anything specific? I'll say, just end it off with this. Everything that I've worked on these past 2 years, just improving that would just be a great, tremendous to, who I can be as a receiver. Like, the one thing I'm working on is being the best receiver in the world. Mm-hmm. That's what Coach said. Oh, not the best receiver in college football, best receiver in the world. Because if you're the best receiver in the world, going to be a top 10 pick. And that's it.
There it is. Nyck, this has been great, man. Again, I appreciate you taking the time. I know the fans that were listening, they enjoyed this as well. We'll be pulling for you, man. Hopefully we can do this again. And good luck, man. Mean that for real. This has been fun. Great to get to know you, man. And we'll do this again, okay?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the fans that are listening. And appreciate 107.5 The Game.
There you go. He is Nyck Harbor. We're out of time. We're out of here. We'll let Nyck get out of here. I'm Wes Mitchell. Appreciate y'all for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, one of our great partners is the presenting sponsor of what you just heard, the Gamecock Club Hour, Tuesdays and Thursdays here on the game. Krantz Cooling and Heating, KrantzCooling.com. That's 2 Ks, KRANTZ, cooling.com. They can do it all for you from an HVAC standpoint. It's obviously cold here in the Midlands now, so you want to make sure that your home or your business's heating system is running in tip-top shape. You can join the Krantz Club. Again, 2 Ks, Krantz Club. They can help you with your regular maintenance to make sure that you don't have any unexpected surprises. Nothing worse than having your HVAC system go down unexpectedly. They can help you stay out in front of that. KrantzCooling.com. Justin Krantz, their general manager, guy I know, great guy. Since 1983, their locally owned family business has been helping folks all around the Midlands, and they're out in the community. They do great work. 803-672-3224.
$11 o'clock on your Thursday morning. Welcome in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, West, and Chris along with you here on the game. Of course, if you were just listening to that great interview with Nyck Harbor in the last hour for the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling Heating, got a lot of insight into South Carolina's blossoming wide receiver. I said this to you guys in the break. That is one very confident kid, to say the least. Nyck Harbor, a lot of belief in himself, a lot of belief in this team, and that's exciting to hear him go in detail about those things in that last hour.
Dude, I think we could have got another hour in.
Probably.
Honestly. Like, I was sitting there, you know, when you're doing an interview, you're going through your head, what do I need to hit? What do I need to move on from? And I had more stuff I kind of wanted to talk about with him. I mean, I think I could have talked food and video games with him for an hour. I don't know if anybody listening would have enjoyed that, but very just unique, well-rounded, interesting guy, like very much, and very much just enjoyed hearing from Nyck, and hopefully the fans did too, man, because I do feel like we maybe haven't always had a chance to see all the different sides of Nyck Harbor, and I thought it was interesting. Chris, you and I have talked about kind of that moment mid-year last year, or this past season, I should say, where we were like, man, it seems like Nyck has just started to hit the ground running a little bit. And I was curious if what he would say would match what it sort of appeared to be from the outside looking in. And he very much just confirmed it. Like, early on, wasn't playing as much, maybe didn't quite have the confidence that he had later on in the year, but once that confidence started building, it just all started to click for him.
Yeah, last year we saw just the flashes as a true freshman. You think about the catch he made in the Florida game. I think he had a really good one against Missouri. And it wasn't like he wasn't playing as a freshman. That was something that we saw a good bit. People would say, where's Nyck Harbor? And you're like, well, he's on the field, as a true freshman. But he's just got to continue to progress. Again, this is a guy that's played – you don't play track, you run track. But he's running track. He's playing football. He's not a polished receiver. A lot of times guys get to the college level as receivers, highly recruited, and they've been playing receiver since, Pop Warner. Not Nyck Harbor. This was a guy who played multiple positions in high school, played some tight end, played defensive end, ran track, and really kind of switched over to wide receiver and had more of a focus on it, senior year, all-star game season. And so, you knew there was going to be an adjustment period. So I think part of what we saw year two was a natural progression from a freshman to a sophomore, especially one, that has been focused on two sports, had a lot of growth to do because he was still raw as a receiver, still very much learning. But I don't think it was just like your baseline jump either. That's the point I'm trying to get to. It wasn't just, okay, he's in year two, he's a little bit more comfortable. By the end of this season, and I kind of tried to talk to some people that know ball to make sure that what I thought and what I was seeing kind of really matched what some of these other people thought. And they're like, no, he's a different guy, from what he was as a freshman. He's a different guy from what he was earlier in the season. He looked more like a complete receiver, not somebody who, is just showing flashes here and there. Is the way he was running routes. It's the way he was catching the football, the types of routes and catches we were seeing him make, fighting for yards in traffic. We just saw, I think, more versatility from him, and I think that just spoke to his comfort level, as a player.
Well, and he alluded to it as well because, of course, the concern with him in the offseason doing the track stuff is he's not there for spring ball. And I know he tries to go to the meetings, being as involved as he can, but he's not actually on the field doing the development side of things. But it sounded like they had to kick him out of the facility sometimes because he was staying so late trying to get those extra hours in over the summer or during the season to try and catch up a little bit. And again, those kind of things do take time. But like you said, you kind of saw it click in the back half of the season, kind of coinciding with Sellers really hitting a stride as well. And again, these two guys should hopefully be a very lethal combination coming up this fall.
Very curious to see the development from now to this fall. And I can tell you from sitting down talking to Nyck, you have sometimes guys that are track guys trying to play football. My takeaway was that Nyck Harbor loves football. Not all track guys love football. It's more just like, maybe I'm good at this. And maybe, I don't know if Nyck loved football when he first started playing football. I don't know, but I can tell you from sitting down with him, that guy wants to be great. He loves football now. And I'll be very curious to see what the mix is coming up this semester in terms of, the mix with track and football and all those things. Because I think he is very much committed to being a outstanding football player and taking that step to be wide receiver one. And, maybe we'll get into some transfer portal stuff. South Carolina's still sort of potentially adding to that receiver room. But the best thing that could happen for that receiver room, let's be honest, would be if number 8 takes that next big leap in terms of his progression. And what stood out to me, if you really sort of listen to the specific words he used in some answers, the knowledge of playing wide receiver from a mental standpoint of, well, this is how I adjust this route if I see this zone coverage. This is how I adjust this route if it's man coverage. The type things when you haven't played receiver for a long time are just probably not a big part of your game, but can be difference makers. Like the best receivers in the NFL, yes, they have tremendous athleticism and ball skills and God-given ability and all those things. But the best receivers, I maintain, still understand coverages. They understand leverage. They understand where's my green grass versus what the other team is trying to do to me. And so I think with Nyck, you saw those things start to come along as well. And the play I talked about with him too, where he put his shoulder into the Vandy cornerback, that was one of my favorite plays for him this past year, just because it showed a level of physicality that I don't know if people knew was there. And so I thought that was a big step for him too. And again, I think sky is still the limit. Lots of progress, plenty of progress to go. And credit Mike Fury, he's done a fantastic job with Nyck. I'm interested to see where it goes from here.
Well, and this is a really smart guy. You know, this is somebody who wants to go to med school and has the credentials to do it. You know, he was a great student in high school out of Archbishop Carroll in D.C. and has always had big aspirations. I remember going to Nyck's school to interview him and was talking to him about, you know, what he's going to be looking for in a program. And obviously, like, track and football, being able to do both was big. He gave some things that people typically say about academics, and feeling like home, all that kind of stuff, right? But he kind of took it a step further. It made me kind of stop and do a double take. He's like, trying to figure out somewhere I can go and be a billionaire. and he didn't mean, some people may say, oh, he wants $1 billion NIL deal. That's not what he meant. You know, he meant somewhere he can go be a football star, somewhere he can go and go, you know, ultimately go to med school, right? And he's just a guy that's always had those aspirations. You know, he wants to be a great, what he said last hour, Wes, the best receiver in the world. Track, make the Olympics, be a billion. I think it was billionaire with a B. Yeah. I don't think it was just millionaire. That's shooting too low.
Why not?
You know? So this is a guy that's always had it, like you said, Wes, to where he wants to be great. And, you know, you saw the growth this past year. I was looking back. I don't even remember that he had one drop this year. You know, so like the hands progressed, the route running, how comfortable he looked after he caught the football. He's not just out there. Yeah, he had a go route touchdown against Missouri. That's what everybody kind of dreamed of when he came here. But you can't only do that at the college level or at the pro level. You got to have more tricks in the bag. And I think we saw that growth with him becoming more of a, not a complete receiver yet, but like getting closer to that mark.
Yeah, and again, listen to that entire interview. Kid's got a good head on his shoulders. Obviously knew he was very smart coming out of high school. And, you know, we have so many athletes here, and some of them, you know, are shy behind a microphone in front of the camera and all those kind of things. Very confident in himself, confident in his abilities. And like I said, very exciting to see what he did in the back half of this season. And hopefully, you know, that's the starting point for next year that he can continue to improve on. And if he goes out there and has a phenomenal year, he could be playing in the NFL by 2026. And we would certainly want him to stay at South Carolina as long as possible. But I think it would take a great year of Harbor in year number 3 that means he's got the opportunity to go be a first, second, third round pick or something along those lines, because that would probably mean you've had another successful season on offense.
Yeah, and he didn't shy away from that either. He said, look, this could be my last year, or, you know, it could be 2 years, but you can tell that the clock is ticking for him. Like that, the fact that the first 2 seasons have just like a flash, they're gone now, and you've got 2 opportunities left, 2 seasons left to go accomplish everything you want to accomplish, and so that fact is not lost on him. But just you know, I would encourage, hopefully, if y'all missed it, go back and listen to it. after the fact on all the podcast pages because I think you've really got a good feel, hopefully, for what Nyck is all about as a person, and has that kind of drive and that confidence in himself, which I think we can all respect. He kind of reminds me. Maybe y'all know people like this. I know I do. That just doesn't matter what you're talking about, what they're doing. They just like find a way to be successful in it, and that can be across different sports, different businesses, different ways of life. It's just I think that person's just successful, and Nyck kind of strikes me as that type of guy. But very interested to see. Did y'all catch? By the way, he's on board with what we've been on board for. Nyck Harbor, kickoff returner.
Yeah, he wants it.
He said he was going to talk to Joe D about it too. Like I want this,
and he wants to run a conventional.
Yeah,
not the fake T-bar.
He wants to be the guy at kickoff return.
We need to see at least once.
At least,
just give us a. It's not a good. That's not a. One is never a great sample size for anything, but we need to see just one, please. The people want it.
Just for curiosity's sake, see how it will work out. Hopefully.
Absolutely love how that was your speak it into existence, Wes, and then they started talking about it. I remember with Joe D. He was like,
put it out there in the ether, man.
Get a look. Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it
got
does.
Any other things that you're working on?
Well, my other one that did not work was Nyck playing some linebacker. But he ended up being so good at safety.
He came up in the box some.
True.
Close enough at times.
But when I started speaking that into existence, the linebackers didn't look like they ended up looking like this year.
In fairness.
Linebacking core this year, pretty dang good.
It ended up being all right. Hopefully, Nyck can figure out how to win with South Carolina in CFB 25.
Nyck Harbor.
Yes, Nyck Harbor. Got to specify. It didn't sound like he was having too much success with that.
No. I didn't have time to. There was some meat on that bone, but we didn't have time to get it.
That was the back half of the hour. And hey, he's always welcome to come back. We'd love to have him in studio. Once again, great interview. It's on our podcasting page on 1075thegame.com and wherever you listen to the Gamecock Central podcast if you want to go back and listen to it. Speaking of wide receivers, there is a wide receiver set to visit South Carolina from a team that was just in the college football playoff. We'll dive into that coming up next. Reminder, by the way, tomorrow, all day long, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 1075 The Game, out at Pro Swing's new location on Forest Drive, 4708 Forest Drive, all day long doing our shows tomorrow, so come by and see us. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs on your Thursday here on The Game.
All right, guys. Classic Roofing is your go-to spot for your roof here in Columbia if you own your home or a business. We've been telling you about them for happy 1-year anniversary to Classic Roofing being here with us on The Game. Shout out to those guys. ClassicRoofingSC.com is the website. Phone number 803-590-7870. You need those two things if you want to go ahead and set up a free estimate for them to come out and look at your roof now to make sure you don't have issues later. Of course, taking great care of your roof, it can be challenging. You do not have to do it alone. Mac, Joe, their entire team over there, they're going to look out for you just like they look out for me. Great feature on this website, too. If you're getting a new roof, you can go ahead and build that new roof online. If you're choosing different shingles, different colors, different looks, go ahead, upload a picture of your home, and then this system at ClassicRoofingSC.com will help you get a look at what your roof is going to look like on your home before then. Check them out, Classic Roofing.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West Chris along with you on your Thursday. It is time to flip the card over and check the stats brought to you by our friends over at Palmetto Cards in Lexington. Today we're checking the stats of Trey Wallace, wide receiver this past season with the Penn State Nittany Lions, or his government name, Harrison Wallace III, if you're really trying to find him on some of these websites.
This Harrison Wallace III to you.
That's right, HW3. This past season, 46 catches, 720 yards, and 4 touchdowns for a team that, of course, did make it all the way to the semifinals of the 12-team college football playoff. And the reason we're bringing him up is because he is set to visit campus this weekend as a potential portal ad for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, we knew that as this portal window ended, South Carolina would continue to explore probably wide receiver, probably defensive tackle, and potentially edge in the next portal window. Well, even though it appeared most of the guys who were probably going to enter the portal for this current kind of closing window will have already entered, you did have the possibility of some kind of late entries because of how long the college football playoff goes. And Penn State being one of those teams, one of the few teams that still has had their 5-day window, he enters. And Chris, obviously South Carolina, incredibly interested in him. Seems like a lot of schools are incredibly interested in him. You've got some other visits that are already set up as well. And it's going to be, I would imagine, a fast and furious recruitment, as he probably wants to check out all these schools he's talking about or that have been mentioned publicly. However, you are quickly going to be butting up against the ad drop dates for the semesters, I imagine, at all these schools.
That has actually been mentioned to me. This is a very quick turnaround, and it's not just South Carolina. Don't say, well, we're not going to. No, like everywhere is starting school and has started school, and you got the ad drop dates. So, we always talk about how in the portal you've got recruitments that are very condensed. When Trey Wallace was coming out of high school, actually interesting, from Alabama, originally committed to Duke and flipped to Penn State on signing day in his recruiting class and is now transferring. So just kind of an interesting background. But you don't have 2 or 3 years. You might have 2 or 3 days, in terms of visits. And we've seen he's going to South Carolina this weekend. A&M's up first. You've also got Louisville and North Carolina on the docket. And he's going to be fitting these in very quickly. And once he takes these visits, he's going to have to make a decision immediately, basically, for all intents and purposes. Sometimes you see in the portal window, a guy can spread out visits a little bit more. Even in that condensed window, he can take some visits, go home, kind of think about it for a few days. You're not really going to have that luxury because of when you entered the portal and because of the ad drop date at all these different schools. But a very interesting prospect. South Carolina's staff had been taking the approach, they came into this portal cycle looking at possibly adding a receiver. That was the intent, but it would have had to make sense. And we know that they were involved with some guys that didn't work out for one reason or another. Frankly, South Carolina pulled the plug on some of them that ended up going elsewhere. And so when the portal closed, you only, as the days kept going and the bowl teams' 5-day windows that they can enter after the bowls, college football playoff, you kind of looked at it and went, okay, they're probably waiting until spring at this point. Signed a big freshman class, got some returners like Nyck back. There was a caveat. If somebody entered that made a lot of sense, and Trey Wallace makes a lot of sense. He's got size. He's a plus route runner. He's got production. He was Penn State's leading receiver from the receiver room. Their tight end caught over 100 passes.
Tight end is a stud.
Just a monster. So this is a kid that would check a lot of boxes for you. I think it makes a lot of sense to pursue him.
Yeah, by the way, so I did have somebody point out to me recently, Chris, it's like in the business, in the industry, they were like, hey, so you do know when these guys transfer, like at some level, it is still the same as in where any other student transfers. Like the actual student process has to take place as well, like the transfer process. And so that always gets just completely glossed over when it comes to the football side of things. But there, transcripts have to be correct. There's like a back of it. Well, hey, we don't have this information. Can you send this? And for the most part, Carolina's already got their guys in, and everybody started class actually earlier this week. But that ad drop date is like next week for South Carolina. So you'd have to start to get really creative, I think, if it got past that point. And I imagine, Carolina's one of, 5-6 teams involved with this kid. You're probably going to have to go ahead and do some of the groundwork for a potential transfer ahead of time, even not knowing if you're going to get the guy or not, just because that is where you're at just in terms of logistics for this potential transfer. But has power for, obviously, not only experience, but power for production. I don't know if he's the guy that just comes in and is like, Xavier Legette for you, for example. But a true outside receiver, most of his snaps are outside. I think almost 90% of his snaps are outside. Has good size at 6'1". Makes some contested catches, which I think is something you need. Chris has mentioned good route runner. Like, I think you can see why Carolina's pursuing him. It makes a lot of sense. And they have. If you look back over this recruiting portal window, they were very selective in who they recruited at wide receiver. It was not, well, hey, we've got to go take 4 guys, and you have to just kind of take some chances. They were incredibly selective in terms of that. So I do think it does speak volumes on just how quickly Carolina moved here. And I actually spoke to somebody close to him, and they were just saying comparatively just how well South Carolina has been communicating so far, that, like, this has been very clear to his party, to his side of things, that South Carolina is serious here.
Yeah, and he's set to visit, according to Pete Nyck, Spawn 3 coming up on Sunday night. So I have plenty on the how that visit went and what that means for the Gamecocks coming up at the beginning of next week. It's been an hour and a half where I haven't had to talk about men's basketball. Unfortunately, we do have to get back into it coming up next, as it was another rough night for Coach Parris's crew in Nashville as they dropped to 0-4 in conference play. We'll dive back into that coming up next. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs on your Thursday on the Game.
Larry Chandler, the owner-operator of all 15 Midlands Firehouse Subs locations. Second's the food. All your Firehouse Subs favorites. They always have limited-time offerings going on, like the French dip sub, all in the toasted roll, the premium carved roast beef, the onions, caramelized onions, 2 different kinds of cheese, au jus sauce for dipping, among other things. But the other thing I really love, locations all around the Midlands, 15 of them, so no matter where you are, you can be assured there's a Firehouse Subs close to you. Use my favorite method to use the Rapid Rescue to go to order your lunch or your dinner, firehousesubs.com. But if you download the app, you can earn yourself some rewards toward future purchases. It's free, firehousesubs.com or the app.
very, very tough loss to swallow. I mean, and particularly when you had, and that was my message at halftime, was that with 16 turnovers, God forbid we have a chance. The basketball God shined on us to make the game only a 7-point game at halftime, guys. Whoa. I'm not even sure if we deserved that, but that's what we got. So we come out in the second half only to turn it over, cut it all the way down to 9 turnovers in the second half for a total of 25. You can't do that. You can't play basketball and win that way. You can't have 2 guys that have 5 turnovers. Yeah. We scored 37 points in the second half on minus the 9 turnovers. So you're getting what you want. At the end of the game, we didn't. We had ball point blank right around the rim twice and didn't get anything out of it. But,
Welcome back in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris along with you. That was, of course, the voice of Lamont Paris last night after another loss. This one, same score as Saturday, by the way, 66-63 at the hands of Vanderbilt as his team falls to 0-4 in conference play. And, of course, guys, the glaring stat from last night that Coach Paris was bewildered at after the game, 25 turnovers, 16 of those coming in the first half. And, of course, in a game where you are coming down to the very end, still having a chance to win, those kind of things are the glaring problem on why you lost and why you ultimately fall to 0-4.
Let me throw a shout-out to our guy out there, Elijah, because while I was waiting on Harbor to get here to do our interview, I was talking to Elijah about the basketball game, and he said, look, man, Vandy pressures the heck out of the basketball. And he said, if Carolina continues to make some of these kind of sloppy, lackadaisical type passes on the perimeter, then Vandy will make them pay. And if Carolina is able to not turn the ball over, they will win this game. If they turn the ball over, they will not win this game. Now, nobody predicted that they'd have a world record in turnovers, but he was spot on with it. And it is, I'm sure, frustrating for the staff because I do feel like you do kind of start to see the makings of a team that can be competitive in what is the best the SEC has ever been. Unfortunately, your margin for error has been cranked down so small because of losing these last 2 games. I know ifs, ands, buts, all that, but if you had found a way to win these last 2 incredibly winnable games, then believe it or not, the same exact team is now back in postseason contention because you're playing such a difficult schedule that just finishing 500 in SEC play gets you in. And so I do feel bad for the guys. I feel bad for the fans right now. I feel bad for Lamont Paris because the makings are there. There has been progress. I know it maybe didn't feel like it, but it, obviously, to his point, to everyone's point, if you turn the ball over that many times on the road, in another team's gym, it's still right there somehow, some way with a chance to win the game, which probably makes it even more frustrating for them. I don't feel like you can go necessarily to the referee well when you turn the ball over that many times, but dadgum, the fact they're letting 11 get away with just bullying you, and that's not me saying South Carolina was letting him. Like, South Carolina kind of tried to be physical back, and then when they do, you get called for fouls down the stretch. I really don't know what you're supposed to do in that case.
Yeah, when you have that many turnovers, that's, by the way, I think one of the most frustrated instances in terms of how he sounds of Lamont. Lamont does not get flustered, and he didn't sound flustered there. He doesn't sound overly frustrated. He's not overly demonstrative, but I think you could tell, at the end of the game, he's just, he's shaking his head, and, hearing him on that soundbite there, just incredibly frustrated. And I think in the back of his mind, Wes, he's probably sitting there thinking about why can this guy throw an elbow and push off every time? But even more, he's not going to say that, right? He's going to talk more about the turnovers and the things that you can control more. And there was plenty of that in this game. One time that they're coming down the floor, and Colin Murray Boyles is literally running backwards and gets an elbow thrown into him and block. It's like, what are you supposed to do in that instance? But they had plenty of opportunities. Like you said, Wes, somehow have an opportunity down the stretch. Somehow Arden Conyers shoots that ball and almost goes in. And
close.
That
was a great look.
Great
considering
the circumstances.
Yeah.
And I mean, Arden Conyers is gaining confidence, right? Like, there's a big difference in what we saw in games 1 and 2 of SEC play, a 15-point loss, a 20-point loss, and then what we've seen the past 2 games. But there's also a big difference, guys, between being 2-2 and 0-4. You know, I mean, big difference in that. At some point, you have to take we're close, we look better, and translate that into some wins. And so the last 2 are frustrating from that standpoint, and especially the Vanderbilt game, I think, for so many reasons. But can you clean up some things? This is a team that, you take the first 2, those are even more concerning. The second 2, you get the feel, okay, this team is capable, but can they clean up some of the things that are holding them back, even being shorthanded?
And you're seeing things that give you reason for promise. Obviously, Colin Murray-Boyles has played better these last 2 games than he did the first 2 in conference play, where he had a combined 11 points. Against Auburn, obviously, you had Arden Conyers step up. Yes, last night you had Morris Ugasuk step up. You're obviously still playing without Jamari Thomas and Miles Stewie, so you need these younger guys to fill these roles, which I feel like they're doing a good job of. But again, some of the fundamentals and effort as well is just something that isn't there consistently for this team. And Coach Paris alluded to it once again last night, the effort throughout the entire game. There are flashes of it, certainly, but keeping that consistency for 40 minutes has been a problem for this team the entire year. And you worry as you get farther and farther along into this losing streak if apathy just sets in at one point, where again, you're going out there and trying, but in the back of your mind, like, well, we're not really playing for anything. We're not that good of a team. Maybe I'm not giving 100%. Maybe I'm giving 90% or 85%, even without realizing it. Those kind of things happen. We've all played on bad sports teams growing up, I'm sure, where those kind of things do eventually set in. And again, I don't know what you're still playing for right now. Yeah, technically you could go reel off 14 wins and be in good shape, but that's most likely not going to happen. You're not going to tear your way through the SEC tournament playing like this. You need to see something to believe this team can turn a corner, and we just haven't seen enough of it yet.
Yeah, and I will say this. I saw a team that was competing last night. Like, they were competitive. They were communicating with each other. There was a lot of on-court, just sort of back and forth in terms of who's where. Like, you saw guys taking on leadership roles, I thought. Bozeman Verdonk and Colin Murray-Boyles, I thought, were taking on sort of bigger leadership roles, at least from what you could see sitting at home in terms of kind of instructing their teammates and stuff. But yeah, 0-4 is tough. Now, you look at this league right now, guys. South Carolina's not the only one. Their opponent coming up at Oklahoma 2 days from now, 4 o'clock ESPNU. Oklahoma is 0-4 right now in the SEC as well. And Arkansas, 0-4 in the SEC right now. Texas 1-3.
That's crazy.
LSU 1-3. So you have some other teams that are going through some of the similar things that Carolina is. And I think the most disappointing part, though, is just that these were 2 very winnable games. And I think they should and will have a great shot to beat Oklahoma this week. And that's one that you absolutely have to find a way to go get. And then I personally found myself saying, hey, let's continue to see more of Arden Conyers. Let's continue to see more of Cam Scott. Like, let's just kind of let the freshmen go out there and play and get better and learn as they go. I thought you saw some positive signs from both those guys. With the young guys, you're going to have mistakes, but I think there's a lot of upside with the younger players.
Yep. Continuing on this conversation, wrap up today's edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Coming up next, by the way, tonight, women's basketball in action as they take on Alabama. Pregame coverage starting at 6:30 for a 7 o'clock tip on our sister station, 98.5 WOMG. Carolina Calls with Coach Paris tonight. We'll be right here on the game in Columbia and 100.3 the game in Myrtle Beach coming up at 6 o'clock. He shares his thoughts on what happened last night and looking ahead to the Oklahoma game coming up on Saturday. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on the game. Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris, along with you. Again, we're going to be out at Pro Swing tomorrow all day long, 4708 Forest Drive. Coming up at the end of the month, it's the first annual Pro Swing Golf Classic, January 30th through February the 1st. It's $150 to register for a two-person team. Bookings are available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Food is included. You can win $1,000 for first place, $750 for second place, and $500 for third place. Plus, we're going to be drawing Gamecock Baseball season tickets for somebody that just signs up. So all you got to do is register, and you have a chance to win the Gamecock Baseball season ticket pack. Call Pro Swing at 803-528-1617 if you want to sign up. Again, 803-528-1617. We'll tell you more about that coming up tomorrow as well. So in the fallout of this game, I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to Bill and Preston this morning, but Preston always has the best concepts and topics when it comes to these kind of things. He was talking about, they were both talking about punishments after really bad games. We all played sports growing up, Little League, Rec League, whatever it may be, high school. Was there ever a particular practice or day after a game, whatever it may be, where you were punished for how poorly you performed? And what was it?
Yes. Yeah. So the two that come to mind, nothing crazy, just your classic, like, hey, you're running. We had to practice so bad, everybody was goofing off. This was baseball. This was actually like rec baseball, but we had a coach, one of my favorite coaches, but he was very hard on us. And everybody was being so just lackadaisical. We were taking like infield or outfield. If you made an error, drop your glove and run, next guy in. So, okay. Of course, he's out there just hitting shots to all of us. And, didn't make a play, go run. The other one, we had a game, and I was on JV for baseball, and I was playing up for whatever reason that day for varsity, but I wasn't even actually playing. Like, I was young. But team goofing off, we were getting our butts kicked, but acted like we didn't care. And I remember getting back, and coach just reamed us, and then basically was like, all right, we're back. This was a road game, back at the high school after the game, basically doing poles, you called it in baseball. You're going pole to pole on the fence, running poles basically until you quit, kind of.
Did it work?
No. That stuff doesn't work.
Of course not, especially not high schoolers.
Yeah.
My bigger thing was because I didn't do baseball. I did a couple years of baseball when I was younger, but I was track, like early high school.
Yeah, what do they do? Make you run?
Later, yeah, right.
No, you don't run. That's the punishment.
You don't get to run. But my coach in track, Chuck Parker, great dude. He would always tell us, and I never got punished for it. So I guess my answer is no. After we ran, we were supposed to go to the weight room, and that wasn't for me. That wasn't my bag at that point in life. So I just never went. There was no accountability. We actually had a good team, too, somehow. We just had a bunch of kids who were really good. Like, we had some good sprinters. We had some really, really good distance runners.
Now, what was your events?
I was 800.
Okay.
I was average. I mean, that was the best shape I've ever been in.
Yeah.
But I was astoundingly average. Probably below average, actually. But, I could run an 800.
You can pump yourself up. We can't go back and check these stats, by the way.
They might be somewhere. I mean, I could run the 800 in 220, 215. So, I mean, that was pretty good. But the top guys were like, I can't remember, 140s, 150, way, 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 way faster.
So you never had to face severe punishment, that's what you're telling us?
No. I mean, I got some undeserved punishment when I did play football. When I was playing middle school football, our team was, we meaning just the rest of the team, not me, was really, really good. We had some giants, and we were really good. And we had to do kind of like an Oklahoma drill one day in practice.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just got destroyed.
That day your football career ended?
It was the day I decided it was not going to be for me. I continued it out, but I was like, this is not, this will not be my sport. Because my parents kept telling me that the growth spurt would come. Never did. That's okay.
Yeah.
Not for me. So I switched to track and non-sports activities.
Well, hey, you're
a good portion of
you're good at what you do, so it was the right path.
I appreciate that.
When I was in high school, we went to baseball camp at Jacksonville State, somewhere between my 9th and 10th grade year, and they had us staying in dormitories. And of course, we're 14, 15-year-old kids that had never been away from home in our lives. Of course, people can do stupid things. I don't remember what exactly my teammates did, but they did something that angered our head coach. I was taking a shower after we'd been out the field all day, and I hear him knock on the door of the bathroom, say everybody outside in like 60 seconds. And this was like at 11 o'clock at night, and they had stairs in front of the dormitory we were staying at. We had to run cycles, so we're running in circles up and down the steps, and then you had to do like, I don't know, 40 or 50 push-ups, 40 or 50 jumping jacks just over and over and over and over and over again. We did this for like 2 hours until like, it was like 1 in the morning. There were people driving by wondering what the heck these 15-year-old kids were doing being punished out in this college parking lot. That probably took the cake for me I didn't even do anything wrong. I wasn't a part of the
even find
group.
out what
No,
happened?
well, there was one room that a bunch of them were hanging out, practicing, playing games or whatever, and I'm just trying to relax and get ready for bed. Nope. Running cycles in the parking lot in Jacksonville, Alabama until 1 a.m. Thanks, guys. I really started to resent my teammates after that. You know what I mean?
I thought it was supposed to bring you together.
No, I hated those guys. I think I actively despised most of my teammates my last year of high school baseball.
Well, they were huffing.
They were huffing bug spray. Again, I don't know if that gives you anything, but they tried it.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Teenagers are stupid.
I didn't have the brightest bulbs as teammates, to say the least, but there's my sports punishment story. I didn't even do anything wrong. I was just a part of a group of idiots.
Yeah, again, the punishment stuff doesn't work a whole lot. Did y'all ever have indoor practice when it was raining outside?
Yes.
You'd go to the gym?
Yep.
That's where we went. I hated those because we would end up doing basketball-like conditioning where you're doing like running back and forth and stuff.
Yep.
Terrible.
Don't miss those days.
It wasn't even punishment. It was just what you did.
That's right. That'll do it for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Again tomorrow, all day long, Pro Swing, 4708 Forest Drive in Columbia. Come by and see us. Halftime show up next here on the game.
Our friends over at Integrated Media can help you out with any of your audio-visual needs. And Michael and Nathan, also the guys behind Pro Swing. And we're going to be there tomorrow, the Forest Drive location, 9 to noon. Come out and see us. If you're actually out the other direction and you're near Chapin, out at Chapin 105 Snapdragon Court, and you can get a 2-for-1 basically. You can go in the experience room in Integrated Media, check out the very latest television, Sonos wireless speakers, all the cool audio-visual stuff. Get some inspiration. Have them come out to your home or business and install it for you. And then you can go next door, hit some golf balls on what I think is the best golf simulator system in the world out at Pro Swing.